its opposite, when it is false, it will print y is greater than x. So let's select everything and I'll do control enter. So which of the condition is printed? So we have x equal to 80, y equal to 50, which means x is greater than y. So this condition was true. So the first condition and the first statement got executed. Now let's change the values a little bit. Let's make x as 50 and y as 80, and I'll execute both of them, and together you will execute the whole if else condition. So now this condition was false, so it came to the else part and it printed y is greater than x. So this is how you can use the else statement. Also, we can use it without curly brackets. Now, how to use it without curly brackets? So you can say if x is less than y, so what you can say, print, so we will print this, otherwise it should, else it should print x is greater than y. Let's select the whole statement and enter. So because the second statement was true, which is, sorry, the first statement was true, wherein x is less than y, so it printed the first part. If we change it, let's make it greater than and enter. So it printed the second part. So this is how you can use the if else statement. Next, we will learn how to use multiple else if statements. So let's suppose there are three variables, x equal to 80, y equal to 50, and z equal to 90. Now, how to use multiple else if? So it will start with if. I'll give a condition. So let's say the condition is y is less than x. I'll start a curly bracket. And what I need to print is, let's say I want to print x is greater. Now, there will be a else and if again, which says a condition. Now, the next condition I can say z is greater than y. So here I will again give a curly bracket because it's an if condition. So it should have a statement with it. So I want to print z is greater. Else, now this is the false part. If none of the condition is met, then this should happen. Now what is else? It should again start with a curly bracket and there will be a statement which will say print x we have taken, z we have taken, so y is greater. And I'll close it. Now let's try to print it. So I'll select everything and run it. So what happened? The first condition was y is less than x. So if you see, this condition has been met. Y is less than x. So it stopped here and printed x is greater. If you check here, z greater than y, which is false, therefore it didn't execute it. Same for this part also. Let's try to change this. Let's try to make it less than. Let's try to make it greater than. Now, let's see what happens. I'll select everything again and I'll run it. Now, the second condition got met, wherein our z was greater than y. That's why this second else if condition got met. Now, if I change some numbers, now we want to make all the conditions as false and print this value. So how to do it? Let's change this condition as well and try to print it. Let's see what executes. So the last part, the false part got executed. So this is how we can use multiple else if. We can even add more else if to it depending upon our requirements. Now, if we want to write it without curly brackets, how we will do that? If I'll say the first condition y greater than x, and then I'll say what I want to print. I have to print this. So I'll just copy it here. And then next condition is else if. So if z is less than y. Again, I want to print something. I want to print is z is greater. Or what should happen if nothing is met? It should print else print directly. I will say else print y is greater. And I will close the bracket and I'll execute it. Let's see. So if you just saw y is greater has been printed using this command. So this is how you can use else multiple else if in a single statement without curly brackets also. Next we will understand is if else function of R. Now for that what I am doing is I am creating one vector, let's say v equal to, so I'll be using random normal distribution. So I'll say R norm, it says random normal distribution, wherein I want some numbers. So it can be any number. So I'll say 20 numbers which has mean of 0.5, let's say, and standard deviation of 0.15. So I'm taking it randomly so that it's normally distributed, and I'll press enter. And let's print this v. So if you check the numbers, it's the numbers are in long decimal points with a mean of 0.5 and standard deviation of 0.15. Total there are 20 numbers. Now what we want to do is, let's say we want to create one more vector v1, and all those numbers which are less than 0. Let's say 55, it should turn to 0, and numbers greater than 0.55 should turn to 1. Let's see how to do that. So we say if else. So I am giving both the conditions, if and else together. So first part of this statement, first part of this function is the condition. If you check here, it says test yes, no. So the test is the condition that we want. So if we are saying if v is less than or equal to 0.55, what should happen? The next thing we will provide is if this condition is met, what is the true thing should happen? So it should turn to 0. And if it is greater than 0.55, it should turn to 1. Let's see if it is working. So there is an error. Error says, so there should not be any space between less than and equal to. Let's execute it again. And I'll print these values again. So just see this value 0.599. It was bigger than 0.55, so it converted to 1. Because this condition didn't met, it was false. So it came here, it executed it and converted into 1. The second number was 0.53, which is less than 0.55. So it was true. The condition was met, and therefore true statement got executed. So this is how you can change all the numbers range using if-else condition. Now, if you want to check, like if you want to compare them, you can always use cbind function. Cbind, what will it do? It will give v and v1, both the vector name, and it will combine, and you can easily compare what it turned to. Next, let's understand while loop. Now, while loop, any loop that we will work on, Loops work until we have given it a condition or a fixed point until it should repeat. So let's say there is a variable wins and I'll save 10 in it. No, instead of 10. Next, let's understand while loop. Any loop, whether it is while or for, loops work until we have given a condition and it should be repeating itself until it meets a condition, its last point. So here, let's say there is a variable called as wins and I'm saving a number in it 0. Let's execute it. Now, what I want to do is I'll say while, I'll open a bracket, I will say while wins is less than 10. So this is the condition that I am providing. Until wins is less than 10, what I want to do is, I'll open a curly bracket, I will say print. So it will print something. What should it print? I'm using a function called as paste. This paste function, whatever you will provide inside this paste, it will print that. So it will combine those things and it will print it.